Legalized sports betting is underway in New Jersey and will soon be across the country because of a historic Supreme Court ruling that will simply be known as Murphy versus the NCAA, the case that legalized sports betting. But it's much more important than that. I know. Everybody's obsessed with the money, and I can see why. According to the American Gaming Association, Americans bet $150 billion on sporting events every year. The tax rate for New Jersey on legalized betting will be 8% on window bets and 13.5% online. That's pretty low, but sports betting advocates are still claiming sports betting in New Jersey could bring in an extra $100 million in tax revenue. Hey, maybe we'll all get property tax rebates. Yeah, right. Shark Tank's Mark Cuban is bragging that his Dallas Mavericks and all sports franchises have doubled in value overnight. But you know who is really obsessed with the money? The bookies, because they're going to lose so much money. 97% of all money bet on sporting events right now is done illegally. And that tax-free back alley gravy train is coming to an end. But again, the ruling in Murphy versus the NCAA is much more important than that. The big winner in this week's ruling was the U.S. Constitution. You see, the writers of the Constitution came from 12 of the original 13 states. Rhode Island abstained. So it was the states that gave the federal government its power. The states created the federal government, and they were very clear and very specific that any powers not explicitly given to the federal government stays with the states. But over the years, the federal government has been gluttonous in its grab for power through legislation, executive orders, and judicial rulings. That is, until this court made one of the most important rulings in history for states' rights when it overturned the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act. And that is the true importance of Murphy versus the NCAA. Or, as Justice Samuel Alito wrote in the opinion, a more direct affront to state sovereignty is hard to imagine. Actually, it's not that difficult to imagine because there are many other affronts to state sovereignty right now that undoubtedly will be challenged. Issues like marijuana, education, law enforcement, property rights, sanctuary cities, even water jurisdiction are all areas where the federal government just took power even though it's not found in the Constitution. All of that can now be challenged with optimism in the judicial wake of Murphy versus the NCAA. No. This is much more than just being able to make a wager. This is about making things right. And we should be proud that it was New Jersey that finally said, enough is enough. I'm Larry Menti. Talk to you again next week.